Good evening, and welcome to another besmirching version of Diatribes. Now here's your befuddled and bewildered host, voice of Doom. Alright, well, I am pretty awake at 12:44 a.m. and I should actually wake up in about 5 hours or less to go and try to track down a day gig to make a few extra dollars to survive for the next 2 days. And I don't mean with food, I just mean keeping up with the bills that just keep coming and coming and coming. And I've been out of work for about 6 weeks, taking odd jobs here and there, making a few dollars, begging, borrowing, and I haven't stolen yet, but trying to get money here and there from everywhere, mostly my kid, who, if he wasn't around, I would probably be selling my house and moving out to the street. But microcosm is looking better. I see the light at the end of the tunnel, but the tunnel is a couple of miles long. So I can see a faint light, and I know I'll probably make it, but I'll talk about the microcosm a bit, because I started my new job today. I started training, and it is probably the second time in my life that I really felt old, and I'll tell you why. First time I felt old, I think I already told you this, but it was probably in the year of our Lord, 1986. And I was 27 years old. And I had met a new girl, and that didn't last long, but I was going out with her, and we went to see I guess Megadeth, something of that nature. And it wasn't the nature of the concert that made me feel old, but it was when all these young punks were stage diving, and this girl looked at me like, well, are you going to get up there and do a few stage dives? And I'm like, nah. Because I know the mindset of punks, and when they see a new face in the crowd, they will be very happy to let me break my neck if I try anything like that. And I've never been a real daring person, because I know that those kind of antics will get you killed, and I've seen it happen. So that was the first time I felt like I'm just going to sit back and watch these guys, and I'm not going to be the center of attention or do anything like that. Now, the second time I felt old was tonight, because I went to this new job, and it's a good job, and I will say that people are very nice, and the person that trained me is around my age. He thought he was older than me, but he wasn't, and he trained me to the best of his ability, and I tried to keep up on the process of doing your job, and it's just not what I'm used to. I'm used to getting a job at a restaurant. You take down the order, and you put in the order, and then you take out the food, and you do this and you do that, and I'm even used to putting my order in through a POS system and sending it off and blah, blah, blah. I can do that. But this particular place, and I won't mention what it was, and I'm not degrading or disparaging. I'm just saying that it's from a century that I'm not used to. It's called the 21st century. And there's just so much computerization and so much. You go to this website to get your schedule. You go to this website to get your paycheck, and you go to this website to get your tips, and you got to put this in, and you got to put this in, and you got to enter in all these things, and here's how you work your tips, and here's how you give out your tips. Back in my day, you make money, you got the money in your hand, you give out the tips to the busser, to the wherever, and it's all very cut and dried. But cash is going by the wayside, so everything's got to be done with a computer. And I know I will figure it out. I know I will be able to do it because I see other people doing it. And if other people can do it, then I can do it. And if it gets to the point where other people can do it and I can't do it, then I will shuffle off this mortal coil in some way or another. But I will not say that I'm not happy with this new job. And the people are very nice, very welcoming, and I think as far as being a server, as they call it now, I can be very humorous, and I can be, I can get a rapport with the customers, and that's the main thing. The main thing is to make the customer happy. That's the bottom line. It's not whether I can't figure out how to do the tips or do the, all the little things that you need to do, but it's just make the customer happy, and I know people will help me if I need it. And I won't go into any more detail about that. But I do want to say that I'm from a different generation, and now I'm over the hump of my 60s and heading toward my 70s, and that's getting pretty old. So I'm getting a little worried about whether I can keep on working on a physical level. I'll have to maybe go to the gym because I really can't lift up a huge tray of drinks and a huge tray of food anymore. And I don't want to be some old guy that needs a walker to, go around to tables. But we'll leave it at that. I'll talk a little bit about what I've seen as far as Wokesterism, the D's, and the left-wing idiots being exposed for the idiots that they are. And the only people that don't think they're idiots are people with such TDS that they can't think any other way. So they will go by the wayside too, but it will take time. Now, our buddy Elon is a multi-billionaire and may become the first trillionaire with the plans he has. But he has I don't see how he could possibly be thinking about his own personal enrichment as the reason for what he's doing. What's happening is that Orangey got smart and he said, I've done this gig for 4 years and I made mistakes hiring the wrong people and listening to the wrong advice, and now I'm going to do it smarter. And he's trying to do things that we've never seen before in this country, like get rid of fraud, waste, and abuse. And Elon is talking about what I was telling him to do a week or two ago. that people have to be put in prison if they've been, if they've been defrauding the government. They've been taking all our money, $37 trillion in debt, and a lot of this money has been going to these bureaucrats and fraudsters who have been living high on the hog in nice houses and going on vacations to Australia and Europe and Ireland and everywhere else on our dime, because they've created these NGOs that are frauds. And Elon's saying we're going to start putting people in jail, and he said that the wheels of justice go slowly, which we all know, but we have a Justice Department that is on the same page with the administration. They're not at odds like they were before William P. Barr. People of that nature who were swamp monsters that were implanted into the government. So a lot of people may be in jeopardy, but it would be nice to see some of these high mucky mucks, and I mean real high, be indicted on legitimately brought up charges. Not, oh, it's a political witch hunt. He's just going after his opponents. Orangey has nothing to lose. He's not going to run again. It's another thing about Orangey, which he learned was very smart. If you want to take people's minds away from, serious issues, just throw out some stuff that just makes people go nuts. I'm going to run for a third term. Things like that he says. I'm going to make Canada the 51st state. First of all, Canada's too big to be one state. And there's no way he's going to make Canada any kind of a state, because they're liberal to the core. And that would be political suicide for the goppers. So he just says that just to get them all riled up, and they can go on and on for weeks about stuff that he knows he's not going to do. It's brilliant. He's a genius. But this wokesterism, we're going to have the biggest spontaneous protest in the history of the universe on Saturday. Everyone's going to protest in every state, and it's going to be totally grassroots. They're all going to come out. That bull crap. It was all orchestrated, and it was all planned, and a lot of them were paid. A lot of these protesters are so stupid, they'll come right out and say, yeah, I was paid to be here. But if you go into YouTube, you will see about 5 million hours of sentient human beings going around with their microphones saying, well, what are you protesting? Well, Trump's a fascist. Well, how is he a fascist? Well, I don't know. Well, do you know what fascism means? Well, I don't know. Can you name one thing that you don't like about Orangey? Well, he's a racist. Well, how has he been racist? Well, I don't want to talk to you. Over and over and over again, these wokesters don't know anything. When I protested, I knew what I was protesting for. I protested in the 80s because I thought that the U.S. government didn't have any business getting into Nicaragua and El Salvador and all these other podunk third world banana republics. And I know a lot about the Central American thing. They were running drugs and they were running guns, and the Boland Act, which prohibited funding the Contras, which they got around, and they were trading missiles. They were selling missiles to Iran to fight Iraq, and then using that money to fund it was a big mess. And Mr. Barr was right in the middle of it, so don't even talk to me about him. Nobody even knows about that, including Orangey. But I was protesting that, and I protested when when Larry Elder got, canceled from his talk show on the radio, and I didn't like that because I liked Larry. So I went out to the street for him. That's the only time I went out to the streets. And I knew what I was protesting, and I wasn't protesting, I was just stating my opinion, and I stood out on the street. But these guys that are protesting now, they don't even know what they're protesting for. And even Long-Necked Giraffe is saying, well, there's no real clear, cohesive message about what they're protesting. Everybody just says hands off. Hands off the corruption, hands off the waste, hands off the abuse, hands off the total ripping off of all of us, of our taxes, because it's Orangey's thing. And I hope that Elon and the rest of those high mucky muck billionaires that are in Doge have them all arrested, tried, convicted, and incarcerated. And by all rights, they should spend the rest of their life behind bars, just like Madoff, because they're rip-off artists, and they've sucked off the teat of us common taxpayers who have to struggle, paying more and more and more in property taxes, in fees. I had to register my car the other day. It costs $35 to register your car. Oh, that's not bad. But $200 for fees, they call it. Which I know is for stoplights, and it's for crosswalks, and it's to pay the construction workers to fix the roads. But that should all be taken care of already. I shouldn't have to pay an extra $200 a year in fees in my car registration, which is another damn burden. It's incredible, man. And I'm getting a little bit sick about living. And I am hoping that there is a conflagration. I want nuclear annihilation, because then I don't have to pay my bills no more. Because I just can't do it no more. I don't want to. I mean, I'm going to do it, but it's week by week trying to struggle to get through to pay the credit card bill before I get a late fee. And they just keep on coming. The water bill's like over $100 a month, which I'm going to try to alleviate because that seems a little high. But these wokesters just are astoundingly stupid. And most of these idiot protesters are in their 70s. They're ex-hippies. I used to think the hippies were for love and peace, and now they're just a bunch of blithering idiots. It makes me think that either they should have nuked Woodstock back in 1969 just to send a message, and it makes me think that if I ever watch Easy Rider again, I'm going to cheer at the end. I'm going to stand up and give a standing ovation when those two stupid-ass bikers are shot by a couple of crackers. That's how my attitude has changed. And a lot of people are in the same boat as I am. So I'll leave it there. I think I've lambasted enough, and I'm sorry to bore you with my personal details, but it was an interesting day, and I'm going to make it, and it's going to be a good gig once I figure out how to. I might have to go back to college and get a computer science degree before I can figure out the job, but I'll do it, because if other people can do it, then I can do it. So I'll leave it there. It's almost 20 minutes. I hope it went by fast enough for you. And enjoy what's left of civilization. Thanks, everybody.